Hello, everyone, and welcome to our presentation. As we said, the subject of our research is a student hotel. Apart from offering regular and student term contracts for tourists, the student hotel was created to offer long-term student contracts based on the idea that students deserve much more than just a bed and a dirty kitchen. In fact, the company offers good quality rooms and services, as well as young, diverse, and international environment. The company is currently planning to expand and build 8 more hotels in Europe in the next few years. The aim of our research was in fact to understand how the corporate culture of the company perpetuated throughout all of its locations. We directed our research according to qualitative standards. We conducted interviews with 4 different types of employees using open-ended questions to gather more information as possible about the company's culture and principles. To avoid any sort of bias, we chose 2 males and 2 females, 2 front desk employees, an event organizer, and a restaurant manager. Furthermore, 2 of our interviews were conducted in the student hotel in Amsterdam Center and 2 in West.
After conducting our interviews, we each began open coding the answers given by respondents. Open coding refers to attaching labels to different sections of the interviews to define and create categories that could help make sense of the data. After coding over 100 pieces of information, we grouped similar codes together under different core themes that overall reflected the main overarching idea of these codes. This is called actual coding. Some of our actual codes included lack of strictness in the workplace, appreciation for individualism and multiculturalism, and establishment of culture. Also, if anyone has a problem with the size of the font, I will gladly, personally, wholeheartedly send you an email with the entire presentation, so no complaints please, we're overwhelmed already. Anyway, our methods of coding differed between the first 2 and the last 2 interviews. When coding our first 2 interviews, we realized our codes were too general and broad, so we focused our codes on the given context and niched it down. In this way, the grounded theory became easier to generate and more concentrated, reflecting our actual findings within the studied environment. After both open and axial coding had been performed, we proceeded with the selective coding. Selective coding essentially refers to the act of systematically relating the core category to other categories of codes and filling in groups that need further refinement. The idea here is to try to identify particular categories and codes to form some type of core element or concept which has the power to elucidate lots of different aspects in the setting we're looking at. So the purpose here is to develop a single storyline to which everything else relates, and from there, construct the rest of the story. The axial codes, as mentioned by Daria, pointed towards... We can crop that and we can just start with... The axial codes, as mentioned by Daria, pointed towards the dynamic environment, individuality, community, lack of strictness in the workplace, and so on. By generalizing the generated themes over a broader context and by carefully linking the axial codes to one another, it became clear that the overall concept that could be drawn from our data is strongly associated to group cohesion and operations in a friendly and relaxed environment. Therefore, unity in a diverse, youth-oriented culture became the selected code of our study.
In the process of interviewing the participants, we became aware of additional observations that would be valuable for our research, and yet were as important as direct responses. We were able to make observational memos not only during the interviews but before as well. Most notably, prior to the interview, the restaurant manager was observed to be cleaning up tables, which was not his responsibility. It should be added that the manager was not aware of being observed. He was doing this because he truly cared about making the restaurant appealing for the customers. In addition to observational memos, we also collected methodological memos. Depending on the job the participant had, we slightly altered the questions that were asked. We also grouped some of the questions together since we realized that they were more or less the same and would only have made understanding the data more difficult. We told the participant that we would keep their data confidential and ensure them that they would remain anonymous. Despite this, the participants indicated that they were impartial to remaining anonymous. For ethical reasons, we assured all the participants beforehand that anything they said would not be used outside the research project.